Hey everybody, Adjustment 3 Geeks Podcast here. I have Bryan Mcclure. How you doing, Bryan?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, man. It's been a hectic day, but a good one. So you're an actor. I think we're going to talk about a bunch of your different films and things you're getting involved with and doing in the industry. But I'm always curious, what kind of got you into the industry? What got you started?
Yeah. I actually never planned on being an actor. I was looking for a summer job one summer in college, and I saw something online that said, "Make money acting." Now, when I tell this story, I say to be careful about those things. But it happened to be from a local agency in Omaha, Nebraska, where I was at the time. And it ended up about a year later, I think I ended up getting a phone call, and I completely had forgot that I even signed up for this thing. And I thought I was getting a prank phone call at the time. But I went to this audition. It was for Windstream Communications, and I ended up booking this first commercial that I went on, and it was fun. A lot of great creative energy, and got a nice paycheck. And also, I always describe it as there was craft services, which is the food that they have on set. So I was like, this is awesome. I'd love to do more of this. And yeah, and then it just became a hobby for a while, and ultimately I felt like God was calling me to pursue it professionally. So I packed up and made the move to Los Angeles for a number of years, and currently in Atlanta now. So
awesome. Sure. It brings up an interesting question. Like, is commercial shooting different than like a television shoot? Obviously condensed because it's probably less time, but like, is there anything else substantially different about a commercial than say maybe a TV or a movie?
I mean, I would actually probably say it depends on the commercial itself, because some commercials, just the tone of any given commercial is different. And certainly they have to cram a lot into a little amount of time. So sometimes they might jump from one thing to the next to condense it. Sometimes there might not be any dialogue. Sometimes you might find a commercial that is a little bit more cinematic or more like grounded and real, like a movie. I'd say one of the biggest things is just the process as far as finding yourself on that set, because commercials do move so quickly. Like sometimes you could be auditioning for a commercial today and be, maybe on set next week or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Films usually take a little bit longer, and TV is somewhere in between, usually commercial and film, as far as from audition to arriving on set.
Sure, makes total sense. Now, I want to jump right into at least some of your shows here that I'm really excited to watch, and I'm a big fan of all of HBO's things. I'm not sure I've watched an HBO thing that I haven't enjoyed, but the Great Lillian Hall. Do you want to talk about that at least a little bit? It looks awesome. Jessica Lange is incredible, so I would love to hear more about it and what you play in it.
Yeah, my role in this, I play a filmmaker / EPK press guy that basically comes in. I'm assigned the job of basically doing a press kit about this amazing Broadway actress that is Lillian Hall. And then as we're doing the job that, the company I work for, I'm realizing something else is going on more. So it kind of evolved into me doing a bit of a documentary about what's happening with her. So it kind of becomes a bigger thing.
Gotcha. That's cool. Now, as a documentary filmmaker in the show, did you research kind of what those folks do, or do you have experience doing documentary filmmaking? Do you have anything to pull from with that?
Not specifically, like, have I done documentary filmmaking? I've been a part of certain films that were maybe like a found footage type thing, where, we're required to both be on camera, but also be holding the camera and that kind of thing. And I also have a little experience as a filmmaker. I've been stepping into that side of things, writing and producing, and gearing up to direct my first film here next month, a short film.
Yeah, Roast Pork Butt. I can't wait to talk about it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, there's differences, obviously, between making a documentary and a narrative film, but there's similarities in just maybe what goes on behind the scenes.
Sure. Okay? You mentioned craft before. Is craft for HBO shows pretty good? Food grub pretty good?
Craft services? Yeah, a lot of times on some of those big productions, both craft services usually like the snack table, and then they have their catering, which is separate, which your meals are come from.
Oh, okay.
Some of these big budget projects, they've had some really nice craft services. Like you might do a short film and with some friends, and it's like you're fed pizza for lunch, and then you have like I don't know, bag of peanuts or fruit snacks for your craft services. But yeah, some of those they treat people well, and I found just the simple thought of when people's have a full stomach, they tend to work harder or feel appreciated. So I think that's part of the reason to make sure people are well fed.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any fun stories with Jessica Lange or Pierce Brosnan? Like, I'm a big James Bond guy, and the fact that you're working with James Bond's kind of cool. There's a James Bond version of.
Yeah, as far as me and Pierce were not on set together, so unfortunately I didn't get the opportunity to meet him. But I did work with both Kathy Bates and Jessica Lange.
Nice.
That was a really rewarding experience. For me, it's always fun to observe how people that are excellent at what they do, how they do it, and like, how can I learn from these masters of their craft? And there's this particular, there was this one particular day where, as the documentary filmmaker, me and my camera guy were set up with our camera behind the camera, and it was like, the talking head interview kind of thing. And it was like, just these masters of their craft came and did monologues for us, and that was just like mind-blowing to me, because it was first Jesse Williams who came in, then Kathy Bates, then Lily Rabe, and then Jessica Lange with a bunch of different things. And it was like, as an actor starting out, oftentimes you're doing a monologue trying to get someone to get their attention. You want them, you want to gain their attention, whether it's an agent that you want to work with, or a casting director that you want to be hired by, or any array of things. But in this case, like, Academy Award winners were doing monologues to me, and like, I'm just like sitting behind the camera, like getting lost in what they're saying. Like, there's some pretty poignant stuff that's said in some of those, and I'm like behind the camera just like sobbing at times, or like smiling, or just being affected, however it is, whatever they're talking about, or just like, just it was a really rewarding, incredible experience in that capacity. And there was also a really cool experience I had with Kathy Bates, where we were doing this one particular scene as written, and then sometimes you'll find yourself on set and you'll get in there, the way it kind of plays out, or the way the space might be arranged, you kind of have to say, well, this doesn't feel right. Can we try something different so that it fits better in this space? And that kind of had happened in that space. And I just said to Kathy Bates, hey, this feels a little weird. I feel like I wouldn't be doing this, like volunteering to leave at this point. Can we try it if like maybe I try and ask another question and you cut me off, and then, that kind of buttons the scene. She said, yeah, I like that. Let's try it. And so we do. And she's like, yeah, I like that. That was a really good suggestion. So that was just really rewarding for me as well, to be collaborating in that space with such,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Is that intimidating? Was that intimidating? Did you are you fearful to make suggestions on the off chance that these people have been around for forever, that they know, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, in my specific world of working, sometimes it is intimidating to talk to people that have a way more experience than me at a certain thing, whatever that thing is.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly think it can be. But it's also like, I was trying, my thought in this particular thing is like, of that of an artist trying to help the project as best as I can. My thought is like, I feel like it would be more truthful to the piece if this happened. And so in the vein of like making this the best for everybody involved, I feel like it's almost dishonoring if I don't at least bring it up. They can shoot me down, but it's in that space. I mean, there might be other people that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say a single thing. This person's intimidating or whatever, but this was a pretty welcoming space that I felt fine to do that. And I will say there was this experience I had on Haunted Mansion, which you may have other questions about that, but
Yeah.
I had this opportunity in that I played the Headless Knight, and in that project, I was standing next to Owen Wilson, and he was like, it was fun to see how he works because he also likes to take in his surroundings and he loves improv, right? So he was like taking in his surroundings and thinking about things he can make little funny jokes off of. And he did a take where he made like a head pun based on my Headless Knight, and then I just had a goofy joke that came to my mind. So I'm like, that was me. I was debating in my head, do I say it or, but I was like, yeah, it could be kind of, I can't, I'm trying to think exactly how I phrased it, but I tried to phrase it in a way that is not me telling him that he should say this, but it's like, oh, that was great. I just thought it would it'd be funny too if you even said something like this. He's like, well, I like that. And then he said it in the next take and he said, thanks for the joke, man. So
That's awesome. That feels good too, I bet, right?
They didn't end up ultimately making the film. I think they cut that part of the scene, but still it's like, it's cool for me just to know. I guess it's validating in a way that knowing like the ideas that are coming into my mind are helpful in, I guess you could say, the highest levels of collaboration and artistic creation on these sets, and I think that when your ideas are validated in some way too, it's also reassuring that the next time, trusting maybe that idea might also be a good one.
Well, and let's go down that path because you have a thing you've created, right? Roast pork butt. Like, let's talk about that. Like, I was excited to hear that you're starting doing it short because I think personally shorts are super hard just based on the conversations I've had talking with other filmmakers. It's just you have a lot of stuff to say in such a condensed time frame. I'm always curious, like, what your thought process is around that and trying to articulate your story.
Yeah, this particular project is the story of the worst date that I ever had. I cooked a roast pork butt for her. So I kind of just took those lemons and made lemonade out of it with making this film. But it is interesting, especially this particular thing, because there's so much of the story that I know exactly what happened. But then, like, some of the things we had to like push to make it almost overemphasize to make it a little bit more funny, or like in the actual story there was zero hope in it, and so like how can we potentially maybe change that in certain spaces, and also like how do we cut it down for time, because it's one of the biggest learning experiences I have on this project as a first-time filmmaker. Is because my goal was to get it into film festivals, is that a lot of film festivals love like an 8 to 10 minute film. My first cut of it was 19 minutes. And then I was able to get it down to 16, but it's still a little bit long for what a lot of festivals are trying to program. Because as one of my friends who actually runs a film festival said to me, he said, I can program 8 to 10 minute films all day long, but a film that's close to 20 is hard for me to program because you can fit 2 projects in that time slot, put more butts, seats and stuff. So that was a big learning thing for me. And but it's like, I also believe not every story can be told in 8 to 10 minutes. So I am pretty proud of what we've created with Roast Pork Butt. Like, I think it looks like a well done film. It looks polished to me. There may be a little nitpicky things I think that we could have done better on, but for a first time film, I'm really proud of what we did.
Sure. And I ask a lot of times when I talk to some musicians and stuff, I'm always curious, like, when do you know a song is done? Like when you write it. So a similar question to you, like, when did you know, like, oh man, this 19 to 16, that was a good cut, but like 16's it. Like, I've told my story. This is the message I want to give folks for this story. How did you know? Was it gut feeling? Was it just something out of post?
It was hard actually, because I think my script itself was maybe 22 pages. And, you just, like, when we did our 19-minute cut, I'm like, I don't know where else we can cut. Like, I thought that was done. I was like, I don't know what we could cut out of this. And then it was challenged by one of our producers when, we got turned down from our first few film festivals and got that note about how long it was. He's like, he just did like a by no means polished cut. He's like, cut here, cut here, cut here, and just exported it. And I was like, well, actually, it probably could work. So it was like then me and my editor / director went in to see where we could make active cuts and to see if we could get it under 16. So we got it to like 15:58, but it was because we were challenged, and we weren't getting in. So it was like just like how can we go back to the drawing board and make it more concise.
Sure. Have you now? Is it going to make any festivals? Do you know yet, or is it still the process for that?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I've submitted it to a lot, but I'm also finding out, which I didn't realize before, how competitive the film festivals are. It's a very competitive circuit. So, I mean, I'm also realistic in that, like, thousands of films have been made about bad dates. It's not a particularly unique idea. It's just a story that happened to me. I still think it's funny and quirky, and
it's relatable.
Film, I've actually had some people that watched it that said that, like, I can really relate to this film. But I feel like a lot of film festivals too are looking for stuff that are like outside the box or things that haven't been seen. So I mean, maybe it's I'm still will. Like I submitted to 23, and I'm kind of like I'm just gonna wait now and see of those 23 where I get in. I think by next year I'm probably just gonna put it up online because I'd rather share it with people than continue to try and submit to festivals.
So I guess to that end, so let's set aside the film festivals. How would you distribute this? Like just YouTube? Do you have a website you'd like to push this thing to? Or
sure. Mostly I was thinking YouTube, and then a friend of mine who put some money in to make it. We created he's got his own YouTube platform with an audience, and he has his own kind of talk show as well. So since he gave us money for it, he has non-exclusively, but he and I can both put it on our channels once it's all said and done. However, one of my good buddies mentioned recently about a platform that actually does like take into account distributing short films. I can't think of the name right. I want to say like Film Hub. I'm not entirely sure if that's correct, but I'm going to reach out to him again when the time is right to submit it to that with the idea of like, well, why not put it out there and see if we can make some money on it?
Yeah, please. That'd be great. Yeah. I have a suggestion. I just thought about it, so you can say it's stupid, but let's say it makes it to YouTube and just one of your channels. You could just do like a watch party, and like we can stream it on our channel and any other channels we want, and we can kind of do like a behind do you have like a behind the scenes cut? We could talk about like the movie, pause, stop it, like, hey, in this scene, like it might be fun to get some promo from that at that point, because I think folks do enjoy that interaction. I think it might be kind of fun.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about that, but I'd definitely be open to talking about that.
A year from now, we can talk about it for sure. Yeah. Cool. Well, what did the lady in the date have to say about you making a short about the worst date ever? Does she agree, or was she just like, "Yeah, this is bad"? I agree.
It's kind of a funny scenario because the girl I went on the date with, like, she and I had been friends before that date, and I told her that I liked her and I wanted to cook for her. But apparently, she didn't really realize it was a date until the end of the date somehow. But she and I remained friends after some time. Like there was maybe a little bit of a time after the date where I had to spend some, like recalibrating, but we became good friends. And like I wrote the script initially, I wrote the script probably over a decade ago. When it happened and it was fresh in my mind, I wrote the first draft of the script, and I shared it with her when I did it. So she knew about it, and in fact, she actually asked to audition for it. So that was just kind of a wild scenario that she auditioned for it. But ultimately, it seemed like it was probably a better fit to go a different direction. But I sent the finished film to her, and she said cute. So I guess I got her to write off.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's good to hear. Yes. And anything, I'm always curious about shorts and stuff around like how many times on set? Like, was it hard to like? Were you had to be diligent about like how many shots you could take? Because a lot of times when we talk to folks, it's like I can only do this 3 times or 4 times, and we have to be done just either because of budgetary or time constraints with the venue. Like, did you have any of those stories throughout the course of kind of making the short?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of my friends was kind enough. Her and her husband allowed us to shoot in their house. We had 3 days to do it, and they're so graciously giving up their space. Like, and I like to consider myself a considerate person. So I'm always thinking about how is this affecting these people, and I don't want to put them out. Don't want them to feel uncomfortable. But my friend had been in one of my acting classes, and so I think it was a good learning experience for her too. And so I think that there was mutual benefit in that. But I remember specifically, like me and my director of photography, we went through and actually mapped out what kinds of shots we wanted to get beforehand, because we knew we didn't have a lot of excess time because we were doing about 7 pages a day, which is a pretty quick pace. So we mapped out everything we could beforehand. But one day specifically, we were running behind, and we were like, "What do we do here? How can we make this work? If we do this, we're gonna be out here late. Blah blah blah." Tomorrow, and it was maybe our last day. And then we, on the fly, realized if we folded these 2 scenes into one, we could cut out one scene and we could fold it together, still get the information we needed, and then like cut out the whole other setup. So that was kind of one thing that we made a decision on the fly that I think ultimately worked well. That was just, one of the things you always have to do on set, I think, is just be able to think on the fly and adjust to the inevitable fires that will come out and how you get to put them out.
That's awesome. So to come full circle, what was your craft services like for your short? Was it some sweet pizza and some beer?
No, we went to Costco and got a bunch of goodies. We had some chips and fruits and drinks and other snack items. We tried to treat people well, especially since like this particular project, everybody volunteered their time. So the least I could do was try to feed them well. So sometimes, most of the time on set, you might get one actual catered meal or one meal. But we tried to do at least 2 for the days that we were on set, like a breakfast and lunch, or like a lunch and a dinner kind of thing, as well as our craft services. I really wanted people to feel appreciated and have stuff to eat that they would enjoy.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. You created a thing, and that's really cool.
That's awesome. I'm proud of it.
Yeah. Good. I can't wait to watch it. And just to come back to it, it'll be like a year-ish before folks like myself can actually see it, though, if I don't go to a festival.
At this point, it might be half a year, because since we're already halfway through this year, I'm thinking probably 2025 is probably when. Because I had one festival in 2025 that I submitted to, but I withdrew from that festival just because it's like, I would rather start sharing. A lot of people have asked about it. A lot of people want to see it. So it's like, I'd rather just share it with the people that actually want to see it, rather than film festivals that don't want to program it. One of the things I did is I actually rented a theater back home in Omaha, Nebraska, where a lot of my family and friends are, and just invited a lot of people that are close to me.
That's fun.
See it. And that was really rewarding for me to have 3 separate screenings and then do a Q&A with it afterwards, and to just share, because it's literally my story, both that I wrote as a filmmaker, but also that I experienced. So it's just really fun to field questions and actually talk about the experience with people.
Man, that's so cool. I always like talking with people when you make a thing. It's always fun to talk about it, because I can hear how much excitement this is. So it's a lot of fun. I'm glad you had a good time, and I hope it does great. I do want to talk about Haunted Mansion. There's a couple other things I want to talk about. Sure. Anything else you want to plug with Roast Pork, though? Because I'll talk your short all day if you want to.
No, I mean, no, that's fine. We can talk about that, as we talk about it later when it's time to show people.
Cool. But Haunted Mansion, Headless Horseman, I believe, the Headless Knight. Yeah. Sorry. Was that hard being headless? Like, was it? But in terms of acting, not in terms of like, obviously you were a character, but like.
Yeah, they didn't really cut my head off. It it did present some unique challenges because both for me and like the cameraman, because I would always have to remind that, because what I did is I actually had a knight's helmet that I carried around in my hand. And so I had to work with the visual effects supervisor so that anytime I turned my head, I would have to like rotate the helmet as well. So that, because he was in post was going to just cut off my head and put it into the helmet in post production. So it just had me thinking about extra things that I normally wouldn't. Like I'd have to like turn my whole body with the helmet in hand. There was a time where this particular scene got cut from the film, though you can find the scene on YouTube. I was going up a staircase while turning to say my line. So it was like climbing a set of stairs while rotating my body and head to mimic the helmet, and then speaking my lines in British. It was just kind of an interesting, like lots of different pieces moving all at the same time. It was interesting, and I remember at times having to remind the director of photography, like, hey, if you guys want to get my face on camera, you got to make sure to get my helmet because my face isn't here, my face is down here.
Yeah, that's a good note. That's that's challenging for sure.
Well, technically, they would actually have to get both because they'd have to see this to take it off to put it in here. So I'd like always have to like, you know, kind of remind them like, oh, just make sure if you want this, you gotta.
Yeah, because I mean, I would assume you're acting like you're saying your lines and reacting emotionally how you would. So like, yeah, oh man, that's a conundrum. You guys figured it out though. That's cool. Yeah. Was it fun being just in a Disney movie? Like, it's such a brand name, regardless of the name of the title. Was that cool?
Oh, yeah.
Was that fun?
Yeah, and I love that ride too.
Yeah,
it's really fun for me to just say like I'm a part of the Disney lore of the Haunted Mansion. And like it was the biggest disappointment in that whole project for me was like we were getting ready to have the premiere at Disneyland by Haunted Mansion, and it happened to come out the week of the actors' strike. So I literally landed in LA and an hour later found out we couldn't attend the premiere. And I was so looking forward to going to Disneyland and having our premiere at the Haunted Mansion for our film. I was like, right in my heart.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned something, and I do want to talk about that. The actor strike, did that impact you like heavily? Was that a rough time in kind of your life? Was that
It's impacted everybody, and it's actually we haven't fully gotten back yet. It's the aftermath of it is still heavy. A lot of people haven't worked in a very long time. You know, thankfully I'm working on some of my own projects, and some seeds that I've planted a long time ago are still, like writing fruit and stuff. Yeah. But a lot of my friends haven't worked in a very long time. Thankfully last year, before the strike itself happened, I got to do 2 very amazing projects with the Great Lillian Hall with such amazing talent on it, as well as Ava DuVernay's Origin, which is a really important film. I think it should have been considered for an Oscar. Certainly, I have my biases as someone who was involved with it, but I think that the story itself won a Pulitzer Prize because the story is relevant. The book, because it's based off the book.
Sure.
Cast, The Origin of Our Discontent.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that at all? Like, I've not watched it. I'm down to watch it. I mean, I'm looking at the cast list. Holy cow, you had some heavy hitters just involved.
It's actually number 1 on Hulu this week. I think it just came out on Hulu within the last week or 2, and I saw it just like within the last couple of days. It's number 1 on Hulu right now.
That has to feel good, being a part of a project that's like very well received. Which a lot of your stuff is, right? But like this is up there for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely an honor. And so like, I feel really blessed, and like I'm thanking God for getting a couple of opportunities in the midst of a very slow period for a lot of actors. Just thankful that I was able to squeak those out, last year.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, So why do you think it's a slow period? Is it just the industry itself, or like are we like? And if you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. I don't want to make you
It's fine.
uncomfortable.
No, it's fine.
Yeah,
It's not uncomfortable. It's just it's what's happening right now.
just reality. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, things last year as a whole were pretty slow because they started slowing down at the end of 2022 because there was the looming actors strike potential. I mean, the actors negotiation that was going to happen, and at that point we didn't know it was going to be a strike yet, but things started to get slow because a lot of production companies didn't want to go into production on projects if the actors strike was going to happen. And the studios, the AMPTP, wasn't giving. They weren't even coming to the table to negotiate for the longest time. So once I'm thankful for my union. I'm proud of my union for standing strong and fighting for the rights of actors, and what we're asking, because there's a lot of things over time that we haven't had increases in and needed to be re-examined, especially with the changing of streaming services. Like that's eroded a lot of income for a lot of actors. What we used to be able to make a living through residuals, it's been more and more difficult to do with the streaming services and the way they pay out. So a lot of our fight was about that as one of the many things, but that was certainly a hot issue. We made some ground on it. In negotiating, obviously you can't always expect to get everything you want, but we made some ground. Still plenty more to fight for. And then of course AI, which is still a big issue both in entertainment industry and everywhere else, as far as
everywhere. Yeah, it's very wide reaching.
All the jobs that we're all looking at potentially being replaced with. So I think that the entertainment industry is just kind of at this point right now of extreme change. And I think that from everybody at the top, they're trying to figure out how best to move forward in making film and television. There's talk about how a lot of the studios have made huge budget projects. And if that's really the best option going forward, maybe making like $10 million project, like multiple $10 million projects or something like that is a better way to go about things moving forward. Certainly a lot of independent filmmakers would love to see that.
Yeah.
But I think that there's just a lot of change happening, a lot of trying to figure out what the next best step is, and everybody kind of hedging their bets. I've heard a lot about the streaming services too in the last few years have just been like pumping so much money into the development of new content to like build up their platforms.
Yeah.
And I feel like there may be a pulling back of like putting so much money into those things. So there might be less production as a whole as they put less into putting so much content out there. I'm not exactly sure what their plans are, but those are some things that I've heard in that space as to what's making it a little bit slower.
Makes sense. Cool. Thanks for explaining that to me, because I'm pretty ignorant of the strike, so it's always good to hear more perspective around it. Okay. Or do you have any stories from Origin? Because I keep looking at the poster for it or whatever. I want to watch it now. But like, any fun stories from set or anything you want to talk about with that?
Yeah, that was a cool one. I mean, we shot that one down in Savannah, Georgia, and I've been in Georgia for September. Will be 9 years since I moved from Los Angeles here, but I hadn't made it down to Savannah, Georgia until I got to go there for that shoot. So that was really. I think that's one of the blessings of getting to do what I do is getting to go and like see and experience new places. And Savannah is a really fun city. In fact, I don't know if you've heard this, but the Sundance Film Festival is actually looking for a new home. And Sundance, Savannah and Atlanta are actually two of like, at least the last I read, are two of like in the final consideration of places that it might relocate.
That'd be super cool. Yeah, that'd be super really cool.
Savannah's a really fun city. And Atlanta has a ton of production going on. So both of those, I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah. What is it? Yeah. Is it most of the Marvel stuff shot in Georgia? Isn't
I don't
like,
know if it's most, but there's certainly a lot.
A lot. Sorry.
Down
Yeah,
here.
a lot.
Yeah, I don't know statistically all the different productions, but Trilith Studios down in like Fayetteville, Peachtree City. That's where a lot of stuff is filmed down there.
Yeah, I just remember that peach logo that's in the scroll.
Yeah.
I just remember I remember seeing that a lot.
Yeah, they definitely have that a lot down here.
Okay, I don't take up all of your time, but I do want to ask you about a few more things before I let you go. This is a 3 Geeks podcast, and we talk a lot of geek stuff. So if we don't talk about Doom Patrol, and I really would like to hear your thoughts about working on that project. If you want to share, if you have any good fun stories or anything like that.
Sure. That particularly was fun for me because I got to work with one of my really good friends. I happened to be at church the weekend before, and one of my friends had parked far away, and I was like, "Hey, you want to ride to your car?" And so she said, "Yeah." So on the way, we're talking and like catching up. I was like, "Hey, what's new? How's everything been?" She's like, "Well, I booked something." I was like, "Oh, no kidding. What'd you book?" And she said, "Doom Patrol." I'm like, I booked Doom Patrol as well. Like, what episode? And then we go back and forth and find out we're in the exact same scene. And then we get to set. My friend Grayson Chadwick, she's a phenomenal actress. And we end up finding out our trailers were like right next to each other. And some of these trailers actually have a door that can open. So like while we're waiting to be called to set, we just open our door and like we're chatting back and forth and just like, it's just really cool to be able to share that experience with a friend of mine. And she actually recurred in at least 2 episodes. I'm not sure if she got more than 2 episodes, but she might have. But she plays the mother of the daughter that becomes the famous actress. You know, she's, in our scene, it's a flashback. So she is playing with the little girl, and then I think later on she is seen with the adult version of the same character. But yeah, it was fun, and I just get to play a goofy little assistant to the starlets in the scene. And here's a fun little thing some might enjoy. There was a scenario where there's a long walk down the hall to the starlet's room that, you know, we knock in and ultimately go in, but it was a long walk down this hallway, and there was no scripted dialogue for that. And that kind of goes to what I was saying earlier about sometimes you get on set and the set just doesn't align exactly with how it was written in the script. So I was like, I just started kind of filling the scene with some dialogue about like what was going on. And it actually ended up making the amount of dialogue that I had longer, my scene longer, because I just was improvising and like saying some lines, which I always love opportunities to get to improv. So the whole walk down the hallway was just a bit of an improv scenario.
That's awesome. It's cool that you're, I mean, me as a human wouldn't be as bold, but I appreciate how bold, like it just, I mean, just to fill the space and really honor the character, like you mentioned before. I think that's really cool.
I have taken a lot of improv classes too.
Yeah.
It's definitely a part of studies. I studied when I was in Los Angeles. I went through the whole improv Olympic program they had there before the school shut down up there. But I enjoy that. That's more geared towards comedic improv. And I've also studied like a 2-year Meisner training program. And I often compare that to an improv because it's really about moment to moment work, like listening and responding. And so there becomes a necessity of being able to think on your feet. I mean, that's life though, right? You don't know what somebody else is going to say. So you genuinely have to listen in order to form a thought and then respond. So it's like you're being trained to have these moments of like listening and responding or improving things that are truthful in these moments as they happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. Space Command Redemption. What's all that about? Because the name sounds super cool. I don't know much about it, but I'd love for you to tell me more about it.
Space Command Redemption is one storyline of our whole Space Command series. Space Command is an independently made sci-fi series, and it's actually something that I won a worldwide talent search to be a part of years ago. and it's something that we make. And I say years ago too, because it's something that we've often made piece by piece, because the funding comes at different times. We don't always get it in a full chunk. But we finished Space Command Redemption is our first 2-hour storyline, and that's essentially 2 1-hour episodes, because ultimately, as the first season's mapped out, it may have changed as the writer develops some new story ideas, but initially it was going to be 12 1-hour stories, which are essentially 6 2-hour scripts. So each of those 6 scripts is broken up into a 2-part. So Redemption would be the first of the stories that we've made, which is now complete and available to watch. I'd have to look exactly where it's available. I think a quick Google search would
according to at least what I'm looking at right now, it's Prime and Tubi. Does that sound right?
Okay. Yeah, I think that sounds like it could be accurate. And we just finished filming the second storyline, which is called Space Command Forgiveness. So that one, just earlier this year, we wrapped that one. And the creators gearing up to make Space Command the Great Solar War. So,
I'm in. I'm in. That sounds sweet.
Yeah, I know the trailer is available online. Check it out. See if it's something you're interested in sinking your teeth into. It's a fun story. It's written by Mark Scott Zickery, who also has a YouTube channel. Mr. Sci-Fi is his YouTube channel, and he just talks everything sci-fi. He's a pretty incredible guy. He really has an encyclopedic mind for all things sci-fi. I think he has over 100,000 subscribers to his channel now. But yeah, he's written for all the major networks, and he just has big sci-fi storylines in his head that he's creating.
I mean, sign me up. That's all I want. Okay, last one, and then we'll basically be done. The Walking Dead. If I would be remiss not to ask how that went, how that got. Like, that's one of the biggest TV shows ever, I think. Like, how was that?
Yeah, that was an incredible experience too, because like I watched a lot of I think it was the first 6 seasons until what I call the Glencident. I kind of one of the people that stepped away after the Glencident. But I loved that show for 6 seasons, and I watched it all the time. And so to squeak in the last season, and I got to work with a lot of the notable characters. So I worked with Maggie, and Daryl was there, although we didn't have a lot of interaction, but Carol, several others. It was just really awesome. Everybody was so inviting. It was a well-oiled machine too. Like, they were just like, get you in, get you through makeup, get you through everything. And they had great catering. They don't mess around. But it was funny because like my particular part was pretty heavy. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's pretty heavy.
I might have been one of the victims of the Glencident, so I'm not sure I made it to your season, sir. But
you can watch. I didn't share the whole scene in my demo reel online, but it's available on, like, if you went to my YouTube, you could watch you could watch a majority of the scene. I cut out some of the most gruesome part just for the sake of, like, children were watching. And for people not to like watch my demo reel and go like, oh, I want to turn my eyes away from this demo reel. But like, we actually started with the heaviest part of my whole character arc. Like, day one, it's like my character was in the worst possible scenario he could find himself in, and like that's where we started. And it was really interesting because Melissa, who plays Carol, was so kind and so nice and so talkative that at one point I had to like kind of like protect my craft and my character and like just kind of start ignoring her, because I was trying to stay in this like really intense mind frame, and she was so kind and like I felt it was such a weird scenario, because it's like, I would love to talk to you, I would love to know everything, but it's like I also want to do a good job. And so there was a part where I had to like kind of just tone her out, which was just wild to me to be in that space. But it was also like, like I said, it was a well-oiled machine. They come to set and they just were able to like plug into their characters like that because they've been doing it for 11 seasons, and so they didn't probably need as much like thought processes and concentration just to step into their character. They're just like, okay, what's up? Okay, cool, I'm there. Where me, I'm like, new guy at school trying to make a good impression.
Quit talking to me, Carol. Yeah.
So, I mean, it was wild and it was amazing. Like, I'm super thankful for it. It was fun to do some work and like have Daryl come up and be like, "Hey man, great job." Like Norman Reed is like, and like several other actors, said something like that, and it was just like, wow, who'd have thought, that this is where I'd end up in this place in this time right now.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's awesome.
That's cool.
And what a fun story. That's a fun memory for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Got some fun pictures from that on like my Facebook fan page on social media and probably my Instagram too. Like where it was like me and all the main cast that I was there with. I didn't get a photo with Daryl, but like all the main folks that I got to work with. That was just really cool.
Well, it's a great segue to how can folks find you? What are your different social medias? We'll link and share them in the description below this video. But where can folks find you?
Yeah, my Instagram is probably the most active place that I am, which is my name, Bryan Mcclure, MCCLURE, Bryan Mcclure. On Instagram, and then Facebook is actor Bryan Mcclure.
Gotcha. Cool. We'll have all those links below in the video. Bryan, anything we missed? Anything you wanted to talk about that we didn't? If not, we can.
Man, there's so much. I've been blessed with this. Is just last month passed my 15th year pursuing this career professionally, and it's been a wild journey. I'm thankful for it.
Yeah. Well, we're thankful you do what you do, and thank you for talking to us. And have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, you too.
Bryan again. Yeah.
Ever notice how ads always pop up at the worst moments? When the killer's identity is about to be revealed. During that perfect meditation flow. On Amazon Music, we believe in keeping you in the moment. That's why we've got millions of ad-free podcast episodes, so you can stay completely immersed in every story, every reveal, every breath. Download the Amazon Music app and start listening to your favorite podcasts ad-free, included with Prime.